It's beautiful. My favorite one is this one and that one.
So some of you know my father recently passed away, and me and my daughter have been taking it really hard. So I really wanted to make her some really cheery Christmas decor because I think not only will it make her feel better, but it'll make me feel better too. And anytime we go to the store, she always gravitates towards nutcrackers and pink. So that's exactly what she's getting, and a big thank you to Cricut for sponsoring today's video. The first craft is definitely the easiest. I grabbed this satin pillowcase from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to transfer a design on there using Cricut's Printable iron-on vinyl. This is really cool because usually when I make pillows, I layer different colors, so this is a really nice option. I printed it out just like I would a regular sticker, and then I put it on my mat and cut it out exactly like a sticker, only it is iron-on, which is really cool. So I really love this because it's a great way of adding a little bit of Christmas to your bedding without having to buy an actual Christmas set. And if you did want to go all out and put this on a comforter, I think that's a really cool option too. I'm going to peel off just the top layer, and then it comes right off. You just have to be really careful with it. And then you're just going to iron it on like you would a regular heat transfer. Next, I'm going to transfer it over onto my pillow. I'm using my heat press, and of course I did try to iron this as best I could. If I were to do this again, I would do it on a regular pillow, not satin. But I was just thinking, okay, hair, satin just kind of glides on it. And also because it's the only thing that Dollar Tree had. So I'm positioning it, trying to get it somewhat centered, and then I'm using the sheet up top, making sure not to get onto the other image if it's not covered with the sheet. I really love how these turned out, and I do plan on printing some more and putting them on shirts and aprons and all sorts of things because it is so darn cute. For the next craft, I used a wood round from Dollar Tree, but you can use a pizza pan or literally anything. It's just a base. This is probably my second favorite craft, and I am really happy with how it turned out. So I covered up those little holes, which is kind of unnecessary, but you'll see why later on. To get the center, I just cut out a piece of wrapping paper on the same shape as the circle, and then I folded it in half. I grabbed a bunch of different size containers from Dollar Tree, and then I stacked them. Dollar Tree containers always have like a little middle point, so I used that as a guide to get this nice and straight. And I did cut a hole on this lid just so it can go into the other lid. To attach these, I used regular hot glue, but of course if you want to recreate this at home, you can use E6000 if you want some extra security. I just wanted instant hold, and it was still pretty sturdy. So now I'm going to put this on my pizza pan, which is why I marked the center point, and then I gave it a coat of white spray paint. It's freezing out, so of course I had to do this in my garage, and it doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be mostly covered up, but you still want to cover up those graphics. Once it was completely dry, I used a mix of Mod Podge and Dollar Tree Snow, but if I were to do this over again, I would just do Mod Podge and glitter because this is really chunky, although it did achieve the snowy look. But for a while I was questioning my decision here. I measured the width and length of every single layer because I wanted to create some gingerbread houses to attach to this. To create the houses, you can use free cardboard, or if you don't have any, you can use these project boards from Dollar Tree or chipboard. It is up to you and what is accessible to you. I had both chipboard and cardboard from a refrigerator that I cut down, and I'll show you the results to both of those. I cut the gingerbread houses using my Cricut Maker 3. I cut both cardboard and chipboard, and honestly I ended up liking the results for the chipboard a little bit more, although I did love the color of the cardboard more, but you can always just paint it. So totally up to you if you want to recreate this. I also used foam for the center of the houses because I really didn't want to use spackle or puffy paint. I just thought that would be too time consuming. So I cut the shapes of the houses using foam and my Cricut Maker, and here they are in different sizes. The chipboard houses are of course a lot thinner, but the sides don't have that corrugated look to them, which for this particular project I didn't really want that showing. If I was going to cover it up with some glitter or something, sure. But because I'm not, I went with the chipboard, and then I used regular Elmer's glue to add the foam, but of course you can use hot glue or whatever you'd like if you are recreating this at home. I did every single house, waited for it to dry, and then I added some details using puff paint. If I would have used puff paint for every single detail of this house, this would have taken me weeks. So Dollar Tree has this puff paint, and I just used it for the roof and some of the details like the door. I didn't want to go too crazy because I didn't want to wet this too much and then it bends. All of the houses were flat except for the one that goes at the very top, but Dollar Tree has some great pre-made houses that I could have used. They also have these little bird houses that I could have turned into gingerbread houses. But I went ahead and just created one on Cricut Design Space so that it looked very similar to the rest of the houses. And then I did the same thing. I cut out some foam and glued it to all sides and then used puff paint on the roof. And again, this puff paint is from Dollar Tree. I tried to find the big bottles at Michael's, but since everyone's Christmas crafting, the color white is nowhere to be found. Thank goodness I had some of the Dollar Tree stuff on hand. I also went ahead and cut out some trees and snowflakes just to add some more details on any of the areas that are blank, and then I cut out foam to match. For the trees, I used my Cricut to cut out the foam, but for the snowflakes, I used these from Dollar Tree, and I actually just put snowflakes in Design Space and then just made an outline of them to create kind of like a cookie effect. And now I'm going to hot glue everything in place. This is a Dollar Tree house that I was talking about, but you can see why I opted to have a much larger house that fit the theme a little better. And now I'm going to start assembling. I made smaller ones for the top, and then they got larger as you got to the bottom. Then I'm going to add my little details, and I really, really love how this turned out. In the floral section of Dollar Tree, I grabbed the larger wreath form. You can see the smaller one up top, don't get that. And then I grabbed one of these for the center and a ton of mesh and some of these pipe cleaners. And I'm going to try a craft that was a little intimidating for me, but I knew my daughter would absolutely love it, so I had to make it. So I wanted to zip tie this in the middle just so that I have something to hold on to later to add a wreath attachment. I'm not an expert wreath maker, but I've always seen these super beautiful, full, lovely wreaths with these attachments in the middle, and I have no idea how they attach it. So this was my way of making it work. Between each cross section, I added one pipe cleaner to the center on the inside and two on the outside. And then I'm going to use a ton of mesh and a zip tie to hold my first piece down. I watched a ton of tutorials on how to make a mesh wreath, and honestly, hats off to all you ladies who create beautiful wreaths, because this is work and worth every penny. So I tried my hardest, and in the end, I didn't really love the mesh because I thought it looked like a loofah, but once I added everything on it, I think it looked really, really cool. So I'm just making my way around. It looks kind of funky now. But then when I open up those pieces a bit and fluff it up, it does look kind of nice, but I did have my doubts. This is what it looked like, and I had to take a bunch of other mesh and kind of just string it in there. I also used ribbon and cut little tails on the end, and then did one of these things and started tucking them into some spots. I didn't have enough ribbon. And when I filmed this, it was snowing really bad and I was stuck at home for 3 days, so I had to make it work. By the way, the pink burlap is from Dollar Tree and the striped ribbon, I believe, is from Michael's. I'm not entirely sure, but the ornaments are from Dollar Tree. So it doesn't look very full right now, but later on when I start popping these things in, it'll look better, hopefully. So I found this in the toy section of Dollar Tree, the doggy toy section. I only bought 3, but I really should have bought 5, but it's okay. I didn't want to clear them out. I measured this out because I wanted to make a little wrapper for it. So using my Cricut, I cut out the word chocolate using some glitter foam, and then using the pink foam, I cut out just a square to make the actual wrapper. I added hot glue just to the sides and the bottom. I didn't want to add any in the middle in case I wanted to reuse this. And then I just used regular tacky glue to attach the chocolate. Now for the back, I just hot glued one of these pipe cleaners on so that I can attach it to the wreath without using hot glue. And I think this turned out really cool. I also cut out some more snowflake shapes and used the Dollar Tree snowflakes. And now, of course, you can use the Dollar Tree poster board or recycled poster board for this craft. It doesn't matter if it has writing on it because this is all going to be covered up. But I cut out a bunch of shapes on Cricut Design Space that I basically made to look like a nutcracker. This did take me a while to do, but it wasn't that hard, honestly. And again, because you are covering this up, you can use recycled cardboard, your old Amazon boxes, anything that you have, because you don't have to paint this in any way, shape, or form. Now I cut 2 of each, so 2 of my shapes, 2 of the heads, bodies, bottom, arms, and then I made some support pieces, so just long pieces where the arms are gonna go and where the whole body attaches. I found this fabric at Dollar Tree. It's Crafter Square fabric, and honestly, the patterns right now are so pretty. And I only used 1 roll of pink and 1 roll of blue, and the blue I had a ton left over since I only used it for the hat and details. I ironed it out. You don't have to, but I didn't want to risk having wrinkles and making it look a little dingy. By the way, I know a lot of wreath attachments are either made with clay, or if they are made with felt, they do have batting on the inside, but honestly, I didn't use the batting, and I think it was still a really, really nice wreath. As I'm hot gluing my sides, I'm making sure to pull really, really tight and getting the corners tucked in really well, because that's going to make a difference on how this all looks. And of course, if you can work a lot neater than I can, your wreath is going to be a lot nicer. So I'm going to do 2 pieces, and they're gonna, the ugly sides are gonna face each other. Now I'm gonna do the rest of my pieces, and I'm gonna have 2 of the body, 2 of the arms, the hat, and all of that. So the hat I'm gonna do in the blue fabric, and then I'm gonna do the head. Originally, I got some material from Dollar Tree. I didn't really love how it looked against the other material, so I had felt laying around and decided to use that. And I think that just went better in terms of the material. Like it matched the other material a little better. For the nose, I used some leftover felt and covered a Dollar Tree Jenga piece with it. And then I forgot that I didn't make him little hands, so I just cut out little circles. So that was me taking the easy way out, but I should have made him some proper hands. In the toy section of Dollar Tree, I found these, which brought a beard and eyebrows, and if you cannot find this, they also have fur in the Crafter Square section, or you can use the mustaches that they have in the toy section. I cut this down into pieces so that I can use one for like the beard and some for the hair, and then I put it to the side. I also ended up using the eyebrows that came with it. Before I add his nose and hair, I am going to go ahead and assemble him. So I'm using those support pieces that I said I made earlier. They are the entire length of the project. So again, the fabric is going to be facing the outside. So it's going to be facing the table for the back side, and it's going to be facing you for the top side. I made sure everything was straight, and I did mess up when it came to the hat because I did put the pretty side facing up. But that's okay because I ended up covering it up. So I added a very generous amount of hot glue, and I also added it to very close to the seams. Here are my little arm supports, which I should have made them a little bigger. And then I'm going to attach the head. This is really important that it's straight. Squishing him together. I'm not going to secure the nose in yet because I want to see how the hat ends up so that I can make my face somewhat proportioned. The arms, I'm making sure to add a generous amount closest to the seam since it's got a very small support piece. And then I'm adding the hair. The hair isn't really going in the hat, but it is going to cover up the side seams. Here's where you can see where I messed up because I am gluing the pretty fabric to basically what's going to be the inside. And then I'm putting some more hot glue on top. So when you flip it over, you are going to see cardboard, even though it really doesn't matter. So I'm adding some of the blue right here just so I can secure that seam a little bit more. And then I just kept adding details. So I got a little piece of this fringe. I believe this is from Joann Fabric. I just wanted some nice details. This is from Dollar Tree, and I did use this all over. So I used it right on the edge and hot glued it to the back. Again, anything that can hold a seam in place. And then I used some more of the blue. I used some pink on the hat. Anything that I could find that was left over, I just used it to add detail so that this looked legit, you know, like something I purchased for a lot of money, I guess. I don't know. I added some of the snowflakes from Dollar Tree, and here is where his little goatee is going to go in his mustache. So I'm not going to put a legit mouth. What I love the most about this is that he ends up looking like a Muppet. So I'm trimming his beard up, and I'm just going to go ahead and use this package. So I cut the eyes out, but obviously if you can't find this, just print out a set of eyes or cut some on your Cricut if you have one. And oh my gosh, tell me this doesn't look like something out of like the Muppets. I loved it. Aria really loved it too. And I can't get over how good it turned out. I really thought it was gonna look all wonky, and it's legitimately so nice. So for the back, in order to attach it and not ruin it, I added some of the felt that I had left over. And then I added some of the pipe cleaners, which I should have added something a little bit more heavy duty, but I can always take this off and redo it. This is what it looks like, and I did take a little bit of the blue fabric and cover up that cardboard that was showing. I'm going to attach it to my wreath before adding the other wreath attachments, just so I know where not to add stuff to since I don't have too many things to add. Adding that middle piece really helped me attach him nicely. Then I added the rest of the attachments that I created, plus some store-bought ones like these donuts from Five Below. And oh my goodness, I love how it turned out. Aria was so happy, which is the most important part, and so cute. So that's it for me. A big thank you to Cricut for sponsoring today's video. I really, really hope that you enjoyed all these crafts. And if you did, leave me a comment. Let me know which one is your favorite. And as usual, thank you so, so much for tuning in. I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you on the next one.